President met with President of the World Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff, as world leaders continue to arrive for BRICS summit. On Monday night, Cuba confirmed 1,931 connected circuits as the country continues to recover its electric system. And in Lebanon, the Ministry of Health announced on Monday that the death toll from the Israeli attacks rose to 2,383 and the number of injured already surpassed 11,600. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, highlighted the funding provided by the Development Bank to about 100 projects since 2018. When briefing the meeting held with the President of the new Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff, within the framework of the BRICS summit in Kazan, the Russian head of state praised the close to $33 billion the entity has invested on projects. The reunion addressed the financial institution's approach and its benefits for the group and its geostrategic interests. The Russian leader also pointed out that the new BRICS Development Bank has been a great alternative against Western financial methods, as the increasing local currency transactions has succeeded in reducing debt servicing fees, thus increasing the financial independence of the BRICS countries. Likewise, the Russian President Vladimir Putin held a meeting on Tuesday with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, where he asserted that Moscow values the interaction with New Delhi within the framework of BRICS, noting that the summit further seeks to expand and strengthen cooperation between its member countries. At the encounter, Putin highlighted the good state of cooperation and trade between his state and India. For his part, Modi welcomed the deepening ties between the two countries and expressed his commitment to a peaceful and diplomatic resolution of the conflict with Ukraine. In this context, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, arrived on Tuesday in the city of Kazan to attend the BRICS summit, where he seeks to broaden participation with a view to the world economic development. Upon his arrival, the President stressed that Venezuela participates in the international activity as part of the immense efforts of its leaders for the construction of a new multipolar world. Nicolás Maduro made references to Venezuela's perspective in contributing to the new global era. Moreover, the head of state underlined that this is the first time Venezuela attends as a guest to a BRICS summit, and that it is part of the energetic gear of the new pluricentric world that is being born. Also, in the framework of the BRICS summit, President Vladimir Putin met with his South African counterpart Cyril Ramaphosa in the Russian city of Kazan, agreeing in the commitment to achieve a fairer world order. In the encounter, as president of the bloc, Russia highlighted the results of the country's bilateral policy based on the guidelines and projections of the 2023 summit held in South Africa, and assured it attaches particular importance to strengthening relations with all the countries of the African continent. On the other end, Ramaphosa stated the BRICS have the potential to lead changes in the global economy because they represent 27% of the world's gross domestic product.
Russia and South Africa are coordinating their efforts to a large extent in the international arena, with the aim of creating and shaping a just multipolar world order. And, of course, Russia attaches particular importance to strengthening relations with the countries of the African continent.
For his part, the South African president congratulated his Russian counterpart for hosting the summit and thanked Russia's support of his government's efforts to achieve a politically stable South Africa.
I would like to congratulate you for hosting and being the president of BRICS, having taken over from us. As South Africa, we are sure that you will be able to chair our meeting and our summit so that BRICS, as the enlarged BRICS body, will continue growing from strength to strength. As we have sought to unite the country, to stabilize the country politically, and we're rather pleased that with your support in every respect, we've been able to reach this point in the history of our country.
In addition, President Putin held talks with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping with the BRICS summit, stressing that Russian-Chinese relations reached a high level of global partnership and strategic cooperation. The Russian head of state praised the last 75 years of diplomatic relations among the countries. The leader further highlighted the upsurge in trade transactions between Russia and China and the industry, transport, agriculture, and other development areas. At the meeting, the Chinese president noted that BRICS is perhaps one of the most important cooperation platforms for the consolidation of the developing world and emerging market economies.
Russian-Chinese cooperation in world affairs acts as one of the main stabilizing factors in the global arena. We intend to further increase coordination in all multilateral platforms to ensure global security and a just world order.
In this context, the Chinese president addressed the unstable international situation and reaffirmed the friendship between both nations will remain solid throughout.
The world is undergoing profound changes unseen in a century, and the international situation is becoming chaotic and intertwined. But I firmly believe the profound friendship between China and Russia from generation to generation will not change. The responsibility of serving the people will not change.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The government of Cuba moves forward in strengthening the recovery of the country's power grid, having restored 70% of the service nationwide. According to the Ministry of Energy and Mines, more than 95% of the service in the western provinces of Pinal del Rio, Artemisa, Havana, and Las Tunas is already activated. The eastern provinces of Santiago de Cuba and Guantanamo are the areas within the lowest power coverage so far. The energy restoration works have been strengthened in the last hours, consolidating the functioning of the power plants and the entry of new power stations. In Cuba, President Miguel Díaz-Canel announced on his X account that according to preliminary data, there are 6 deaths in historically dry areas. The head of state announced that both the armed forces and the Interior Ministry are leading rescues in the Imias and San Antonio del Sur municipalities in Guantanamo, where there are still inaccessible areas. In the latest report from the meteorological authorities, the center of Tropical Storm Oscar was estimated at approximately 210 kilometers northeast of Punta Lucrecia in the province of Holguin, as it furthers from the Caribbean country, moving at 19 kilometers per hour within maximum sustained winds of 65 kilometers per hour. In this context, heavy rain and strong winds are forecasted still for the eastern region on Tuesday. The government of Haiti rejected the recent massive deportations of its nationals by the government of the Dominican Republic. Dominican authorities reported that they have returned at least 15,488 Haitian citizens amid a wave of deportations ordered by Dominican President Luis Abinader. Port-au-Prince condemned these actions as discriminatory, claiming that they do not respect legal procedures and do not take into account human dignity. The government of the Dominican Republic announced on October 3rd the massive deportation of irregular migrants in an operation in which immigration agents are participating with the collaboration of the armed forces. Soldiers stand on alert in the Haitian neighborhood of Solino after the nation's capital was violently attacked by the gangs.
The market is where I used to go to work. They have demolished it, preventing young people from going about business. People are being hit in the head by stray bullets, even when they're at home. Before yesterday, you could see a mother screaming for help. Her child had been shot in the head while she was at home. Policemen are sons of the neighborhood. They're the ones fighting the gangs. That's where they were born. They swear not to leave the area to the armed gangs.
In the United States, at least 5 people were killed on Monday in a shooting inside a home in the state of Washington. In the aftermath, authorities reported that a 15-year-old has been arrested in connection to the murders that involved a family of 7 people, which he was allegedly a member of. In the incident that occurred in the community of Fall City, some 20 kilometers southeast of Seattle, 2 adults and 3 minors were shot to death and a teenager was wounded. The police rushed to the place after receiving a phone call about gunshots in the residence. According to the independent organization Gun Violence Archive, the shooting became the nation's 25th mass murder of 2024 and adds to the total of 427 mass shootings occurred in the U.S. in the current year. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, that you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Lebanon, authorities of the Sahel hospital in Beirut opened doors to the media to refute false claims made by the Israeli occupying army after an attack on the facility left 13 people dead. Precisely on Monday, the Zionist regime's troops bombed the hospital grounds, an operation that international law classifies as a war crime. In the aftermath of the strike, the Israeli army spokesman Daniel Hagari claimed the center served as a bunker for Hezbollah's financial resources. In turn, hospital authorities categorically denied the serious accusations, and its director, Masen Alame, toured the center's departments accompanied by journalists to ensure they were free of any military presence. The United Nations Children's Fund reiterates its call for urgent action on the dire conditions in which thousands of children are surviving in the Gaza Strip. In this context, human rights organizations have recently launched a global action to draw attention to the appalling reality of Gazan children. With the motto, "The number one killer of children on earth is Israel," the campaign takes into account the staggering number of minors killed by Zionist troops. Also in this regard, the United Nations Commissioner General for Palestinian Refugees, Philippe Lazzarini, confirmed that Israeli authorities continue to deny the entry of missions to northern Gaza and announced that they have turned humanitarian aid into a tool for their military purposes. In Israel, the mothers of soldiers returning from the Zionist army genocidal operation in the Gaza Strip explained that their sons have been struggling with mental health issues. The mother of a 40-year-old military reservist expressed that her son returned from Gaza traumatized, which led him to commit suicide. The occupying forces confirmed that soldiers suffer from post-traumatic stress or disorders due to their time in Gaza, but claim they have received adequate psychological treatment. In this context, the Israeli government refused to show the exact figure of soldiers who have taken their own lives, but data provided by the Ministry of Defense Rehabilitation Department reported that over 1,000 military personnel have been deactivated from operations due to receive treatment for their mental health. In Sudan, in the capital of Al Jazeera state, clashes between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces RSF have caused the death of over 40 people. The strike blamed on the Sudanese army occurred in the mosque in Wad Madani during Monday night prayers, according to the resistance committee of that loyalty. So far, 31 people have died due to the attack. In addition, the committee accused the paramilitary rapid support forces for another 10 deaths in the east of the country. Since April 2023, the RSF has started a civil war against the National Army, a conflict that has left a death toll of almost 15,000 and forced the displacement of more than 8.2 million people. On Monday, the African Union condemned the post-election violence and recent killings in Mozambique, calling for calm in the southern African country. This statement comes after the recent killing of two individuals associated with the opposition figure Venancio Mondlane. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, appealed for calm and maximum restraint. In addition, Faki Mahamat called on Mozambican security authorities to undertake the necessary investigations and bring the perpetrators to justice. The EU Commission chief urged all political actors to maintain a peaceful disposition as the country awaits the official declaration of the final election result by the Constitutional Council. On Monday, Irish authorities published binding rules to protect European Union users of video sharing platforms from harmful content through the Online Safety Code. According to Ireland's Online Safety Commissioner, Niamh Hodnett, the code applicable from next month would bring an end to the era of social media self-regulation and will apply to platforms with their European Union headquarters in Ireland. It requires that the platforms protect people, especially children, from harmful video and associated content. In addition, it will prohibit the uploading or sharing of violent and racist content. The platforms will have the responsibility to stamp out cyberbullying and to report content that breaks the rules. Companies breaching the rules will face fines of up to 20 million euros or 10% of their annual turnover.
We really want to see a step change in how the platforms have been behaving. We want to see clear evidence of behavioural change. For too long, people have felt that the online world is the Wild West, or there are no effective measures in place. Today marks the end of the era of self-regulation, and there's now an effective statutory regime in place. So we'll be overseeing the platforms to ensure that they're complying with those obligations, and we can hold them to account where they don't.
That we are part of a network of regulators as a member state in the EU, and we have a particular responsibility here in Ireland because a lot of the large platforms are based here. But a number of countries have those extra responsibilities as well. We work very closely with the European Commission, and we're involved with investigations that they've already opened. For example, TikTok and X and so on. We're actively supporting those. Our teams talk regularly with the Commission staff, and there's exchange of we do capacity building with them. It's really quite a close, but still early days developing kind of network.
And in the context of the 16th summit of the BRICS being held in the Russian city of Sahan, let's have a contact with our special envoy, Juno Sunar, who has all the details of this first day of debates of this multilateral event.
Hello from the Russian city of Kazan, where the 16th summit of the BRICS alliance has kicked off today on Tuesday, October 22nd. 36 countries are taking part in it, in the summit, 22 of them at the level of heads of state or head of government. So the day was the day of arrival of political leaders of these countries. They were welcomed by a ceremony, and some of them have already had their bilateral meetings with the Russian President Vladimir Putin his country has the chairmanship of BRICS, and he is the anfitrion of this summit. So he met with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with Chinese President Xi Jinping, with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, and right now he is holding a bilateral meeting with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. He also met with the chairwoman of the New Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff, the bank connected to the BRICS alliance. And this bank's role is one of the important topics that will be discussed here on the summit, to achieve a de-dollarization, to achieve direct connection in payments between member countries, to have a better network between central banks of the BRICS countries is one of the topics on the agenda, as well as creating a safeguarding system for BRICS members against financial crises and establishing own trading platforms for important major commodities such as grain, oil, or certain mining products is one agenda. Another agenda is the expansion and deepening of the alliance. As I said, 36 countries are taking part. Right now in discussion is the status of partner state, which has been announced by Russian presidential aide Yuri Ushakov, who said that 15 countries were candidates for that category, which will be below being a full member, but also not kept outside. So it would be an expansion light of the BRICS alliance. This will be discussed here on the summit, as well as the situation of Saudi Arabia. Tonight, the leaders have a welcoming ceremony among themselves and then an informal dinner. And on Wednesday, 23rd of October, the sessions will kick off, followed on 24th October by the reunion of BRICS Plus, where all the countries that would like to join the alliance or relate themselves to the alliance deeper will have the floor to meet in to have bilateral meetings, as well as to present themselves in the reunions, multilateral reunions of the BRICS summit.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.